What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, and in this video I talk about how to convince OnlyFans models to work with you if you literally have zero social proof, no proof whatsoever that you can make this happen. How do you convince them to not only work with your agency, but give you 50% of their earnings? So I'm going to talk about how we do that and how you should do it, as well as a couple of the things that we regularly run for the models in our agency. So I'm super fired to show you this. I hope you're fired up. Let's do this. Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about the importance of how you sell a girl on being partners. So a lot of people in the comments are like, wow, in the past videos that I've made are, holy shit, how are you getting these girls to agree to 50%? They can't fathom that because they're not approaching this from the right mindset. And a lot of times you'll get a girl who doesn't want to give you 50%. Like we've had, and this is especially true when you deal with girls that already have existing followings. Like they've already got Instagram set up, they've already got TikToks, they've already got quite a few fans, and they come with the mindset of, why should I have to give you 50%? I'm the one posting the content and I'm the one running the business. When the reality is you have to approach them by making them understand that you are in a partnership. So with that partnership comes certain responsibilities that have to be split up. And that doesn't just include time. That includes things like money, and that includes a lot of other things. So let's discuss it, and I'll kind of discuss it with one particular model that we had that had a pretty decent number of Instagram followers. She had something like 50K. She had about 120 OnlyFans subs. And what wound up happening is she, as a trial, this is when we first started, we agreed to take 10% from her just so that we could show her what we could do. The hard part is that when you get somebody like that, they're already being stingy and they're not approaching this from understanding that you are a partnership. So odds were, she said, as we improve, I'll give you more and more as I gain more trust in you. But the reality is that there has to be trust initially with both people as you partner. So I'm going to kind of more or less show you how you should pitch a girl. And it might be a smart thing to kind of show them like a video like this. So that particular girl ended up giving us 30, or so she said 30% the second month, but then we kind of just dumped her and one of our recruiters ran off with her, and our recruiter's nothing more than a person who gave her to us and was getting a percentage of that, but then decided they could manage her on their own. And so essentially they stole her. And now I found out that she's still only giving that recruiter 20%. So how do you convince them to give you more? Well, first and foremost, you make them understand it's a partnership. And the way you make them understand that is from two perspectives. I'm talking about the model here, should only be responsible for creating content and nothing else. It is her number one and only job to create content and to look beautiful and all that shit. So she got to do that. You, on the other hand, are responsible for everything else. So essentially, you're kind of responsible for more shit because, I mean, a lot of these girls, a lot of them don't use makeup. A lot of them are traveling and doing photos, and a lot of them doing photos for personal gain. They have other businesses that they create outside of this, like they can affiliate, promote things, a lot of things of that nature. So essentially, they're doing whatever the hell they need to do, and you're doing all the rest of the work, which includes a number of responsibilities. Things like not only posting the shit to her social media accounts, but also taking care of her wall, organizing her vault, and most importantly, chatting and coming up with the promotions, coming up with the scripts that you're going to write to run these promotions and all that good stuff. And then maintaining a relationship with all her fans. All those things are a huge responsibility that is far worth more than what she does. And then lastly, and most importantly, you are having to put the money into testing out promos. So there's a number of promos that you can do in order to get her more fans. So in the case of that particular girl, we put no money into her because right out of the gate, she gave us 10%. And that was just sketch. It was not sketch. It was just a douche move on her part, right? So we invested zero in her, and we just kind of saw how she went just by getting better at chatting ourselves, having been a new agency and such. But a second girl, she did decide to give us 50%. The problem with her is while she was giving us 50%, she was doing pretty well. If I were to go back here in her statistics and show you what happened out of the gate and where we were out of the gate, you'll see that in the last 30 days, she's at 1,600, and it's down 64.8%. But if we take a look at this custom, and we do a custom look and let's go back to September. This is before we were even managing her. So this is September to September, the end of September. And at the end of September, she was at around 1,300. So this is right before we took her over. We took her over half of October and half of November, but let's just look at month by month. So she's at 1,300. She's still better off where she is right now, right? But just slightly. And then if we look at now, if we take a look at October and see how she did in October, and we'll take a look here. October is 3,100. So this is where we took over. You'll see she had some pretty decent days. She had a couple little like pumps here, and this is what was happening in October. Going a step further, if we look at November, so we basically did half of October and then we did the other half of November. So this might not reflect it so much, but let's take a look at what happened in November. So in November, we went from November 1st to November 30th, and that was 4,500. So you can see pretty darn good. Now, if we look at December, and this is where she decided she was going to take everything over, and you'll see what kind of happened here for her once we got into December. And once into December, this is what she saw. All right, here we go. You'll see a 50% decrease. As soon as she took over, a 50% decrease. Things just went down the shitter. Right now, she's got 32 message hanging in there, which basically means she's slowly destroying relationships that we created for her. If we take a look at right now, the last 15 days, which would take us into, actually, we have to do last 7. Last 7 is 229. If we look at last 30, 1582. Let's just do a custom. Out of curiosity, let's do January 1st through right now, January 12th, which is almost half the month, $1,582. That's what it is. Everything is down. Subscriptions are down 15%. She went from having 150 subs to 56 subs right now. Tips are up because we never really went for tips. Messages are down 73%. And this is just 30 days over 30 days. A significant decrease all across the board, and not going too well for her right now. And again, this is a great thing to look at. And with this particular girl, we did put some money into it. So when we began taking this over back in October, we did put some money into it. So I'll go over the things that we did in terms of promotion, so you kind of more or less know what we were thinking when we put money into her. So the very first promo that we tested with this particular girl, and I will say with this girl, the only thing that she had rocking for her is an Instagram. On her Instagram, she has about 80,000 followers, and she does regularly post stories. However, even her OnlyFans wall was a hot mess. She rarely posted on there, and then she would sporadically send content. So we tried to get her into the habit of regularly sending content, but she just wasn't good at that, and she wasn't very good at following direction. Ultimately, a lot of red flags that now early on, had we seen this same girl, we would have put zero money into her, just because this is the type of girl where she's going to blow herself the fuck up, or she's going to disappear off the face of the planet sporadically. However, you'll just notice that as soon as she took everything over because she thought she could do a better job and make more money on her own, that was certainly not the case. And that's what will usually happen with these girls. So the main thing that you pitch to them is the reason they won't be able to make more money on their own is just because it is a lot of work. So obviously she's not keeping up with the chat messages. But the second reason that you want to really harp on when they don't want to give you the money that you feel like you're worth, which you are, is the simple fact that they're going to have to invest their own money in order to run promotions. So what do I mean by that? Well, those promotions don't come free. This traffic, although some of it is free coming from Instagram, she's still putting constant effort to attract those people to her OnlyFans. So what you want to reiterate to them and really put into their heads is that the promotions are not free. And the other thing is that she was not consistently sending us content. She would go through phases where she felt like producing content and then she wouldn't feel like it. And she was just kind of like a lazy sack of shit. That's the best way I could put it. She also could never take accountability for any of her actions. Everything was always everyone else's fault other than her own. So there were multiple times where she picked members on our team to try and put the blame on. And on our team, we're not playing the blame game. We all can take responsibility. There's even sometimes where I would take responsibility even if I hadn't done shit. But it was very clear early on that's the type of person she was. So we knew that at some point she was going to get axed, either by ourselves, but we were hoping she quit. And ultimately, we were just using her account to test things and to try and get better at these things and to help train our VAs. So eventually she did leave. But before she left, what we had done, at least on TikTok, is we at least created multiple TikTok accounts and kind of learned how to do that. And we kind of more or less learned that TikTok was going to be one of the primary sources of traffic that brought in terms of after traffic revenue. So it was something that we continue to learn. All in all, like I said, the promos that we've tried are dating sites, Reddit, and the DM Blast all worked out perfectly. However, on these models that we have now, they're already just plugging away at TikTok. So we have fully gone on and used TikTok as a strategy to attract more and more fans. And again, we're still using those other ones, as well as testing several service providers in order to find who works out best. Because again, when you get a good model that is listening to you and she's creating that consistent content, you want to be able to be a good partner by providing her with all those promos to create by providing her with all the traffic from the promos. She's not creating anything other than content. That's really all you need from your model, is to create content. And so that's pretty much a summary of how to convince a model to kind of partner with you, and what you're going to tell her you're going to do in terms of the resources that you're going to commit to her, in addition to time, as well as profile management, and then finally the money that it costs to run promos. You're just not going to sit and pray to sweet baby Jesus that you get subscribers and or that people sub to your shit and then buy additional PPV from you. You are going to have a solid plan that is, like you can see from our numbers with this particular model, is verified to work, and you're going to invest money in those promos each and every month. And that's in the event that you want to invest in those promos. It could be that you want to do the manual work associated with it. I know a guy that does the manual work associated with it, and he's doing pretty good for his brand new model. So that effect of running promos and having more and more fans continues to snowball as time moves on, and she gets more and more popular and she gains more and more fan. It's a ever increasing amount of money coming into her account, as long as she's willing to be a solid partner by committing to creating that content. So that's it for this video. Below, I've got a guide on the top 5 things that can help you start your OnlyFans agency or help blow it up. So